How's it digging, my shovels? This is Spade here, and so, how was your April Fool's Day? I certainly had a blast, and speaking of, the battle that I had with Nobs was also live recorded, so we'll be posting that actually tomorrow. However, I did use a potato to record that, so that may be an issue to some people, but you just got to spiel with it. But anyways, today, got a rarely used tier match against someone by the name of Seton. And if we are talking about the actual tier changes, probably one of the biggest change, at least personally for me, is the fact that Nidoqueen has been moved up to UU tier. So I can no longer use this team that you may remember by now, which is this team with Nidoqueen. It's definitely a really good Pokemon in the RU tier. And it's kind of a shame to see it go, but at the same time it was kind of over-centralizing and just really powerful, and there weren't too many good counters to it. The only real thing being especially defensive Clefable. So it's kind of a good thing actually just to see it go, and it'll be definitely a fresh new start for the RU meta game when this thing is no longer around and you don't need to worry about it. But anyways, yeah, speaking of Nidoqueen, just gonna lead with it because I was thinking that my opponent would just lead off with the Cryogonal to set up the Stealth Rocks, because that's the only Stealth Rocker on his team, and that is indeed what happens. So I'm gonna go straight for the Ice Beam, but he switches out into Cryogonal, and yeah, I do not have Fire Blast on that Nidoqueen because it has Stealth Rocks, so I need to switch out, and I'm just gonna go into my Slowking to take any hit from him, and then just go for the Toxic to whittle it down. And he thinks alike, so he's gonna go for the Toxic of his own. But the difference here is that I have a Heal Beller on my team in the form of Clefable, and judging by what he has on his team from the team preview, he does not have the Heal Beller, so my Toxic is here to stay. His, however, is not. So anyways, I'm gonna still stay in here because I really have no reason to switch out, and I'm just gonna go for the Save Scald. He goes for the Ice Beam, I guess, just to get a bit of chip damage on me. And yeah, well, my Scald really doesn't do too much compared to his Ice Beam either, so it's kind of like a stalemate situation here. We're both just staying in before the Toxic is racking up too much. But yeah, indeed, since the Toxic is starting to rack up, I'm gonna switch out. He's gonna do the same. He goes into his Cryogonal. I go into Clefable, maybe in the hopes of getting off that Heal Bell, but this matchup isn't really that great since I'm a special wall, not a physical wall. So yeah, I'm gonna switch out and just go into my Nidoqueen to set up my own Stealth Rocks, and it actually turns out that he's running a Parashuffler set, so I'm not really too worried. He may carry the Earthquake, but since he's most likely defensive, I can still take one, so I'm like, hey, let's just go for the Ice Beam. And yeah, he just does the Parashuffling shenanigans, goes for the Dragon Tail, phases me out into my Among Us, so I'm just gonna go for the Save Sludge Bomb, because if he stays in, I should be able to take one hit and then just knock him out. But he actually just goes into his Cryogonal, just in the hopes of getting off that Rabbit Spin, and unfortunately, my Sludge Bomb doesn't quite take him out even after the Stealth Rock damage. So, yeah, I'm just gonna switch out, and I'm actually just gonna go in my Kabutops, because I would also like to get off my Rabbit Spin, and Rabbit Spin is indeed what he's going to do. And the nice thing is also that he's gonna give me the weak armor boost, practically free, because the, obviously, Rabbit Spin is not going to be doing anything. And yeah, I'm just gonna go for my own Rabbit Spin, because yeah, I definitely want to get rid of his rocks too, since he did the same thing. And yeah, indeed, just gonna go for the Rabbit Spin as he switches out into his Quillfish. And I was kind of thinking also about setting up, but I kind of felt it was too early, especially because he has this intimidating Quillfish around here. So just gonna get off that Rabbit Spin, get rid of the rocks, and then gonna switch out and just go into Among Us just to put him to sleep. And he actually just goes for the Thunder Wave, I guess in the hopes of crippling my Kabutops, but yeah, I just go in my Among Us, so it works out nicely because he's only going to be able to set up one layer of spikes as opposed to two. So that's definitely going to help, and yeah, I'm just going to Spore him and then switch out into my Clefable, because as of now, half of my team is under some sort of status condition, so I definitely want to get off that Heal Bell. But he actually goes into his Cryogonal, so I was like, damn, could have potentially taken this thing out. But at the same time, this Cryogonal is like a momentum buyer for my team. Every time it comes in, I have Clefable, I got Slowking, I got Kabutops, which can all easily switch into this thing. And also Hariyama could also, because the worst thing he can do is Ice Beam, which doesn't really do much from a defensive Cryogonal. So yeah, gonna get off that heal bell first of all. Get rid of the Paralysis on my Nidoqueen and on my Among Us, and then the Toxic on the Slowking. So that was oh so delicious. And then he stays in and goes for the Toxic, I guess, expecting me to switch out into something, and I guess he just didn't have anything better to really do. But yeah, I just go for the Wish, so yeah, I'm taking advantage of that Cryogonal 24/7 every time it comes in. And yeah, gonna make a Wish and pass that to Kabutops, which has taken a bit of Life Orb recoil and spike damage along the way. But he goes into his Archeops, so I don't want to risk anything, so I'm just gonna go for the Aqua Jet. And he actually goes into his Sceptile, and then he has the red card, which is kind of interesting, but I guess it makes sense with all the entry hazard support that he has on his team from Quillfish and the Druddigon. But yeah, faces me out into Slowking, so I don't want to take a Leaf Blade, so I'm going to go into my Among Us, but then I was like, oh wait, Acrobatics is a thing, so let's get out of here and just go into Clefable to take the Acrobatics, and then just fire off the Seismic Toss and go from there. So yeah, that is the plan, and he's just going to go for the Leaf Blade. He most definitely should have taken the time to set up a Swords Dance right here, because he most likely had it, because he's running the Unburden set, even though it's with the red card, but still. But yeah, he doesn't go for it, so it works out, and then he's gonna switch out. And I decided to make kind of a risky play and just go into Hariyama, but I still knew I should be able to take one Leaf Blade and then just go for the Fake Out. But he actually goes into his Druddigon, so that works out nicely, because I can just outspeed him and take him out with the Ice Punch, so that is what I'm going to proceed to do. And now I don't need to worry about Stealth Rocks anymore, so that's a nice thing, definitely. And he does get a bit of rough skin damage, but that's not too bad. Toxic isn't racking up too badly or anything, so yeah, it's fine. But now he's gonna go into his Magmortar, and yeah, I got Slowking, so I'm just gonna switch it in. I potentially could have taken one hit with Hariyama, but yeah, since I do have Slowking, which is like the best counter there is to Magmortar, I can definitely switch it in. Or I guess it could have the Thunderbolt, but still I could take one and then just switch out into Among Us, because most of them are choiced, and it looks like this thing is also choiced, because no Life Orb recoil or anything. And yeah, he goes for the Fire Blast, take it, and then I'm just gonna go for the Scald as he switches out into his Cryogonal, and again, I'm just gonna take advantage of this thing and do whatever I want, basically. And this time I decided to go into Clefable, because it's kind of worn down in HP, so I would like to get off that Wish and actually just pass it to myself. And there really isn't anything that he's gonna be able to do to me, because this is a specially defensive Clefable, and he is gonna go for the Ice Beam, I guess, in the hopes of maybe that's a 2 KO, but yeah, not even close, especially off the leftovers. So I'm just gonna make a Wish, and there's really no even need to go for the Protect, so I'm not going to, and I'm just gonna go for the Seismic Toss, just to whittle down anything on his team, basically. And yeah, he doesn't want to stay in because the Ice Beam did diddly, so he's gonna switch out and go into his Magmortar again. And I guess I could have protected here, and in hindsight it probably would have been a good idea, but at the same time I still have Slowking at almost full health, so it's not really a big deal. He only has one layer of spikes, so yeah, I'm practically at full health, so I don't really need to worry about anything. And the only thing I was really fearing was the Focus Blast or the Fire Blast, so definitely Slowking, a good switch in. He actually has Cross Chop, which is kinda interesting. That's something that you see on Ewire, but not really on Magmortar, but it kind of works out the same way, because either it was Fire Blast or Focus Blast, Slowking could have taken it, and yeah, whatever the case is, take a hit, and then just gonna go for the Scald. He goes into Cryogonal again, and again I'm gonna go into Clefable to support my team with some delicious wishes. And yeah, he goes for the Recover, not too big of a deal, and I'm just gonna make another Wish. I believe he's gonna... Does he switch out into his Archeops? I do believe. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But yeah, yeah, he does go into his Archeops, as I'm just gonna make a Wish. And then I'm just gonna pass that into Kabutops, because the Flight Gem boosted Acrobatics is kind of the obvious choice. And Kabutops can definitely take one with the Rock typing and then just get the Wish off. But he actually goes for the knockoff, which is like, okay, I'm not gonna knock it, but it's still just kind of weird, because it's an Archeops, which usually carries offensive moves, not support moves. And yeah, you're usually just better off hitting things hard. That's what Archeops does. But since it still gives me that +1 speed, I'm gonna go for the safe Stone Edge. But he's gonna go into his Quillfish. But now the difference is from the earlier situation that he's asleep. So I can take this chance to just set up Sword Dances all day long. And well, I kind of decided to make kind of a risky move and just risk him not getting the first turn Wake Up, since this match has kind of gone for long enough already, and neither of us have really made any risks, and it has been kind of just back and forth with his Cryogonal and me getting some wishes and Slowking and stuff. So I was like, hey, let's go for some Sword Dances, and it works out. Take out the Quillfish, take out the Magmortar. Luckily don't get the Flame Body, although he most likely had the Vital Spirit, which is kind of the preferred ability with all sorts of fleet moves in the RU metagame. But yeah, take out the Magmortar, take out the Sceptile, don't need to risk the Stone Edge, so go for the Aqua Jet, and then his last Pokemon is the Archeops, and then he's just gonna run. So that will be the game. So yeah, that will be the match for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and that was kind of an anticlimactic ending. At the beginning, there was a lot of stall, just going back and forth between Slowking and Clefable and my opponent's Cryogonal, and then more walling and stalling, and then just Kabutops came in and just kind of cleaned the way. But that is what Kabutops does at its best, and gotta say, I've been really loving Kabutops lately, and never really used it before, like I rambled before, but it's a really good Pokemon in RU. But anyways, as a question of the day, since the new tier changes are now out, there weren't too many big changes, mostly in the lower tiers, like Nidoqueen moving up to the UU metagame, and then there's a bunch of things that dropped down from RU to NU. I don't really remember. The Scolipede, yes, and Munchlax, and then there was it Primeape? I believe. Those things at least dropped, and then there's probably some other few things between like PU and NU, which doesn't really matter. But I think I should try out some NU matches, because there's a bunch of new things there that could kind of be interesting with Primeape and the Scolipede and the Munchlax. And yeah, I don't know. Might try that out. What do you guys think? But yeah, as a question of the day, what do you think of these new tier changes? Like I said, not too many big things, but still some. Especially the Nidoqueen moving up to UU is huge, because Nidoqueen was the second most used Pokemon in the RU tier for the longest of time, and it's just a really good Pokemon, and there really weren't too many good counters to it, especially defensive Clefable being pretty much the only one, and I guess Munchlax is decent at taking hits, but it doesn't have reliable recovery. The only thing it can really do is just Body Slam and just Rest Talk, so, and yeah, not having leftovers is kind of also an issue. So it's just, yeah, it's Munchlax, yeah, and that's why it's kind of dropping down, because it's never really doing anything. It's just kind of being there and taking hits, but yeah, that's why it kind of just dropped. Not being overall that useful, and you have better things like Clefable, which have reliable recovery, God Wish support, and stuff like that. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that that thing dropped down. But yeah, definitely a good thing to have Nidoqueen off the RU metagame, since it was definitely kind of overpowered there. It was, I believe it was suspected at some point, but it just didn't get enough votes, so it stayed. But now it just got legitimate amount of usage in the UU metagame, so now it is UU, which is kind of cool. So anyways, yeah, what do you guys think of these new tier changes? Leave a comment below, and yeah, I got the special April Fool's live narration coming up tomorrow with Nubs. That was definitely a lot of fun, and you know, with all the live reactions to Trick Bicycle Arceus and a lot of stuff like that, it was definitely a lot of fun, so stay tuned for that tomorrow if you are interested. And yeah, this will be all for today. So thanks for watching. Until next time, this is the Flaming Spade signing out. Peace.